folks, I do hope you're all well. Take the bins off for a minute, but they're going back on. I'm going to read a message. The reason they're on is I started the video, got 4 minutes in, and then I thought, I can't leave these names in this video. I can't leave the names in at all, because some people within this video might get done, and I don't want it to be from me. Right, I promise you an horse racing one to end the day. This should be out at about 8 o'clock. This comes from one of our viewers that's seen the William Hill videos, liked what he's seen and wanted to get involved. You might remember I asked anybody that's got any stories about bookmakers that have either worked there, that have placed bets there, that have been restricted there, that have been turned away from there. Any stories that they may have that they don't want to put in the comment section, send us an email, and if I read it and I'm happy with it, I'll shout it out on the channel. If, however, somebody wants to go further than that and wants to tell us on the channel themselves and come on the channel, they can do. Anyway, this gentleman sent me a message a couple of days ago. I started to read it yesterday. I think I said on yesterday's video, got one paragraph in and thought, oh my God, this is heavy stuff, this. Never read it properly until about 2 hours ago. Knew I was going to put it on tonight's video, and I'm going to do it now. I'm going to read it to you in a minute. The reading of it might not be great, folks. I might get some things wrong. There will be a couple of times I will interject and give you my take on things based on what I'm reading. It's about a certain bet that I have good knowledge of, and I do understand what this person's telling me about the bet and how things went wrong in one of the shops there a good while ago. I'm not going to mention the guy's last name in case he gets in trouble, but I'll mention his first name. He knows I'm going to read this on here, so I don't think he will mind. He's actually given me the name of a cashier and also the name of an area manager at this company. I started to the video, got 4.5 minutes in and used their names. But with the area manager from the company, I thought it was his full name. I said his name, and then I thought, I can't put that in there. I mean, I can if this guy wants me to, and I will further down the line, but no doubt this chap will get in some trouble and be a bit disappointed that his name's been read out in front of a few hundred or maybe thousands of people. I don't know. I don't know how many's going to see this. But I'll get the email up now and I'll read it to you. And I will change the names to protect the innocent, although they're not innocent. Let me get the email up. We'll take it from the top. This has been sent by a gentleman called Gary. I won't tell his last name, but it's by Gary. And this is how it went, folks. If the reading isn't great, folks, forgive it because, you know, it's just me. Right, hey, been following your William Hill vids about bookie stories and what have you. I worked in LADBROKES for over 10 years, from about 2008 to 2019. An absolutely dreadful company to work for. I could tell you more than a dozen stories of bad customer service and incorrect bet settlements. I've encountered my share of bad staff that steal from customers too, but those individuals is about the individuals and not about the company, so I can't call the company there. This is me interjecting. Well, you're probably right there, Gary, but that said, they should not took individuals on that were prepared to steal off staff. You know, if they're interviewing the right people, you take the right people and you get a feel for people, you don't take thieves on. That also said, people have told me these betting companies pay absolute peanuts of folk, and I mean peanuts, which is the root of my problem with William Hill at the weekend, and maybe when you're on absolute peanuts, you get desperate and you do things you shouldn't do. And Gary says he knows people that were stealing off punters, which is awful, but I suppose it happens. Right, however, he says, I am privy to a scandal known to hardly anyone except us involved within the company, and it involves stealing money from genuine punters' pockets. Right, let me just scan down. Right, so he says here, so this was in the early years in my time at LADBROKES. As a betting man, I'm sure you were aware of how the tote pool bets work. Well, yes, I am. I do a lot of tote pool bets, a lot of play spots. I've done for many a year. So the thing with tote bets is, as a cashier, if one is taken in error, it has to be cancelled and voided before the start of the meeting. Yes, I do know that. A normal betting slip could be voided at any time, but a tote pool slip had to be voided before the start, or the money would enter the pool. And that's the case, folks. I've had that before, where I filled in the tote pool slips. You get them at the racecourses as well, where you just click through the next to the numbers. They've got a thing you'll know how to. You scribble it out, and it tells you which numbers you've got on in each race. Everything's numbered rather than horse names. And I do know I've had it before where if they've been smudged or if they've had marks on there, they go through incorrectly or don't go through at all. You've got to avoid them and start again. I've known before where you're putting a bet through the tote pool and it's missed a couple of the bets you've done because your pen hasn't gone through them properly, and again you have to start again. when I put a tote bet, and I always know how many lines it is, and if they say the lines are different than what I've got, I know that there's something wrong there, and I ask them to void it, and we start again. Right, so he's telling me this, what I already know, but I'm telling you folks that are listening. So if the tote slip is no good, it has to be voided. Okay, so that's where we're up to. So it has to be voided, or the money will enter the pool. That's what's critical here. Anyway, he goes on to say, one busy Saturday afternoon at the Ladbrokes shop, I'll say near Doncaster, I won't say where it is, and then it won't get anyone in any trouble. In a Ladbrokes shop near Doncaster, a customer approached my colleague, Jackie. That's her proper name. I can say her name because I'm not saying what shop she worked in. There'll probably be many Jackies in Ladbrokes. With the tote place pot slip for that day's Premier meeting at Newmarket. She was perhaps busy or distracted, but she confirmed the bet immediately, before realising that there was a problem with the slip. Or if I remember correctly, there was some marks on the scanner that had picked up some errant lines, causing thousands of perms. So the bet had been accepted for over £3,000. She noticed this and assisted the customer getting the correct slip replaced. So they had to rewrite a slip out. She noticed it and said, "You're not putting on £3,000 here." He said, no, I'm probably putting on 20 quid. She said, "It's gone through wrong, let's get your new slip done." Anyway, she's helped the customer to do a new slip for the intended few pounds that he wanted. Anyway, Jackie got distracted with all of this and didn't notice that they were all now loaded for the first race at Newmarket, which was the Premier meeting, which was the first leg in the place part. And all of a sudden the call went up, and they're off! She attempted to void the £3,000 plus slip, but to no avail. The system would not allow the bet to be voided because they'd already started, causing a major issue in that Jackie's till was now down £3,000 because she's put a bet through into the tote machine that they've assumed is for £3,000, which it wasn't, and she's tried to avoid it but tried too late. So that slip has gone through, £3,000 has gone into the pool, but no money's gone into the pool, so it's obviously given a false pool there. Right. Obviously, that bet had been never... This is back to the message. Obviously, that bet had never been paid for and was never intended to be a bet. Eventually, Jackie got in touch with our area manager. I'm not going to mention his name. I did when I first did the message, then thought I bet or not. Who was a panicky guy anyway. He instructed that Jackie would have to resolve this and told her to contact Tote and sort it. Well, where do you start with something like that? Still busy Saturday afternoon. Jackie got more and more stressed. Nothing got sorted. Time dragged on, and we reached the end of the Newmarket meeting. This errant bet with thousands of lines that was never genuine had ended up having dozens of winning lines on the place pot. Upon scanning the bet, the settlement came up and it was about £18,000 return on it. So this £3,000 slip that never been paid for has got 18 grand coming back off the slip. After speaking once more with the said area manager, he was quite happy with this. He instructed that Jackie click to pay the ticket out of a till. Then he arranged for somebody in the finance department to ring and to do a transfer for the remainder of, I think, about the 15 grand profit. So what he's done, say it was 18,500. What he's done, he's asked for 15,500, left the 3,000 in to pay for the ticket so everything tallies up, and away you go. So he arranges for the 15 grand profit to be transferred out of the shop figures so everything tallied up and the shop tills were all level. I was flabbergasted at this. Ladbrokes took a massive chunk out of that prize pool that day from genuine punters who had absolutely no knowledge of it. Not even the totes knowledge, who probably believed the lucky punter from that shop had scooped thousands. Every single winner of the place bet in the UK on that day got less of a payout from the pool because of this. I won't say the word he's put on there. Let's say cock up. The word he started with an F, but I'm not that kind of channel. I'll try not to be. And the bastards knew about it at Ladbrokes and kept quiet. Well, I would suggest... What's your name again? Sorry, Gary. My memory's crap. I would suggest the bastards at Ladbrokes probably didn't know anything about it. I would suggest your area manager knew about it and maybe one of the cohort that came there for the money. And I would imagine somebody picked the money up in the car that came out of the till and him and one or two other people split it. You got nothing. Jackie got nothing. The punters throughout the UK that bet on that place spot at Newmarket that day got a lot less than they should have got. And as I say, 2 or 3 people at Ladbrokes in the know shared 15 grand, 15 and a half grand, whatever it may have been. A nice day for one and all if you're within that little cabal. Is that the right word? I hear that on. Anyway, if you're in that little syndicate, you know, that dodgy syndicate that have decided, wait a minute, we've got a chance of getting a few quid here that no one's ever going to know about. You know about it, I know about it now, so do my viewers, but it was all 10 or 15, 20 years ago, whatever it may have been, and they've gotten away with it. So, that's just one story from one of our viewers, which is shocking really, folk, isn't it? You know, it's, you probably might say, well, good luck to them, they've made 15 grand, but it's not the works in the shop that made the money. It's not old poor Jackie that was probably pulling her hair out, worried to death. Yes, she made a mistake, but probably worrying for a job and whatever else. It's an area manager who didn't need it, and there's all those punters that are put on the play spot throughout Great Britain that have got a hell of a lot less because the return was a hell of a lot less because somebody took out 15 grand in Doncaster that had never ever been placed, which they never ever should have had. Just gives you an insight into how some of the bookmakers work.